By the end of this video, you're going to know what it takes to maximize your earnings on audiobooks. You're going to have the steps necessary to produce your own audiobooks and setting yourself up as you're selling thousands of audiobooks as well. And you're going to feel great that you're not leaving money on the table or skipping any of the steps necessary in order to maximize this huge opportunity, especially right now. This is Chris Baird from selfpublishingmadeeasynow.com, where self-publishing doesn't have to be so hard. The thing is, after I've helped out thousands of authors in your exact situation moving through this entire process. One of the best ways that I've been able to help people out, it's by giving free discovery sessions. We do one session, we go through your exact situation, we discuss your issues, we figure out how best to improve the sales on your book or the steps to getting your book produced, and that's it. If you want to continue working with me, you can, but you do not have to. There's no reason to continue if you don't wish to. And if you want to check out more, just check out below in the description, and you will find the link to my free discovery call that we will do whenever it works for you. You just find a time on the schedule that works. All right, so let's get into it. So the thing was, when I was first getting started with my own books and getting them onto the market, there was already enough stuff to do. We had to get the books written. We had to edit the books. We then had to figure out how to format these books and ordering covers and all of these things. And then you had a Kindle version and an ebook version, a Kindle version and a paperback version to do as well. And it was just getting a bit complicated. I even started putting out hardbacks at that time on Lulu. We're now moving over to Amazon, but at the time it was on Lulu. And so there's so many things to learn. But at the same time, I had heard there was not that many audiobooks currently on ACX, which is owned by Amazon, of course. And since there's not that many, that means the competition would be a lot easier to beat, or at least take a small piece of that cake over on Audible. And so I was thinking, I'm already doing so many things, this would be too difficult. But then it got even more difficult because I realized this is going to be too expensive as well. I have to find a narrator and somebody who knows how to do this thing. And don't audiobooks, they require a lot of effort. Well, that was exactly what I thought until I realized audiobooks are easier for me than paperback books. So, how exactly do we get to 18,000 book sales? Well, I can tell you a couple things. On the journey of the audiobook side, there has been a couple high points. One, when they were giving out these bonuses that you would get when you would bring new people in, bounties into ACX for their very first book. And so when you had a lot of books on ACX, those would generate an awful lot of money. At one point, it was pulling in $1,000 a month through ACX just on the bounties of new people coming onto Audible ACX and getting the books that I was putting on the market. But then they killed that completely, making it nearly impossible now to do that strategy. But the books themselves continue to produce and do make quite a bit of money. Now, there are two choices you're going to have to make. The first thing you're going to need to do is you're going to have to decide, do you want to use the narrators on ACX Audible, or do you want to go find your own? If you use theirs, they will produce it, they will upload the files, they will organize everything until it's perfect, and then Audible will then approve or go back and forth with these narrators. And at the end of the day, you will pay them nothing, but they will take half of your profits that you get from your book, which means Audible is willing to give you a 40% of the money, of the sales of what they make off of selling these books to people, and then you would split it with this narrator 20/20. This is exactly what I did for my first number of books. I would choose different narrators, and they would go and do the narration for my books, which was great in the beginning. But that's not a good strategy in the long run. If you really feel it's too much of a problem to find your own narrator, this is the right strategy. And one of the things with keeping self-publishing easy and not doing it the hard way, it is choosing an easier route when we're getting started with each phase. Every phase of self-publishing has many, many layers of depth. You're going to be moving downwards through this huge, as it might be, some sort of a pit of different things you can learn, the complexities. It just gets so deep on each of the different phases of self-publishing. But when we're first starting, we just want to get through those phases, and then for the next book, we can focus on moving things deeper, or we can go back, but I wouldn't normally suggest if you're going to lose your motivation. Sometimes I have clients who ask, should I go back and fix it on the first book? And I go, are you going to lose motivation if you do that? And they say, yes, I'm not going to feel good about this. Then I'd say, then it is not the right choice for you to go backwards in time and try to get your book fixed. So do not do that. That is a huge mistake. And so, but back again, if you're going to find a narrator, which I definitely recommend if you have the patience and the time, and you need a little money as well to do that, then you're going to go on to Upwork, and on Upwork you're going to find somebody, you're going to post a job for $1 per finished minute, PFM. Most books are done at a cost of like $3 to $4 per finished minute. When I first got started, I was doing it at 50 cents per finished minute for many books, and that worked out just fine. Sometimes you're trying to find a narrator who's a newer narrator who hasn't done a lot of this, and it can be frustrating because you'll go back and forth and maybe the audio quality has issues and Audible's complaining about something. So don't have them do 20 books at a time. Have them start with your first book. At the same time, I would not go to Fiverr. I've had several clients try Fiverr out and to find these narrators, and it never ever worked. So definitely Upwork is the place to go, and you're going to maybe need to try several narrators who can be the voice of your characters in your book, if it's fiction, or nonfiction, just somebody who will be reading through your book and be willing to do it at a rate of $1 per finished minute. We need to hold the costs minimal. That is our first key point. The second point is you need to stick with the same narrator from book to book so that your audience already knows the voice of the narrator that you have, and they're going to stick with you as we're moving through multiple books. And the reason why this is so important is because of the third and secret answer of the day. It is bundles. That's right. You're going to pay per finished minute. So if your first book, let's say, is an hour, you'll pay an hour for that, right? That would be $60 for the narration of your first book. If your second book is an hour, that's another $60. But if you take your first book and you combine it together with your second book, we've now created a bundle that you can sell in the paperback, the Kindle, the hardback versions. In addition, on Audible, on ACX, you're going to be able to put this book out there, and all you're missing is just the intro file and the ending file in order to actually get this book on the market. And notice how much did you have to pay $120 to get this bundle onto ACX? No, this audiobook, you've already paid for the files, so you do not have to pay again. This is something that so few authors realize, and this is one of the really, really big secrets that people just pass over. But I am going to give you a secret tip, a secret number 4th tip of the day, and that is on ACX, you can put every type of book you can imagine onto ACX. I was surprised to discover that my cookbooks also sold on ACX. Some people put their programming books on ACX. It doesn't actually matter. Put your book on there. You can even take a PDF version of your book, attach it to the audiobook, and the person will get that audiobook, and then they can listen to it as they're working through the book. I don't understand why people would want to buy programming books on an audiobook format, but the thing to remember is that different people, they know which format they wish to have their books in, and that's the one they want. Some people only like hardcover books. Some people only like ebooks. That's me. I read 100% of my books right off my phone. I do not go somewhere else. I read them right off my phone when I'm trying to get through a book. That's how I do it. Either that way, or I do as an audiobook. And even some of the ebooks, I'll even have them read to me. And so I like the audiobook format, and I like the ebook format. Now maybe you like the paperback, but never assume that just because a format is great for you, that everybody else is going to think that it's great for them. And because other people have other preferences. You may like to watch YouTube, but other people like to watch podcasts, and that's why. And some people like to read blogs. That's the reason why even these very videos are in all 3 formats. So it just makes it very, very easy so that you can consume content in the format at the time that works best for you. So these are things that most people don't tell you about audiobooks, and I think it's something you're definitely going to want to consider if you haven't already started. And that is the reason why my question for you today is, have you started with audiobooks? And if so, did you find your own narrator, or did you choose one from ACX when you were getting started? I need to know, so write it below in the comments. If you found your own narrator, write. If you have an audiobook out, say yes, and if you do not, write no. And check above me here, and I'll see you on my next video. Thanks.